Welcome to my channel, sharing a different story for you every day. I hope you will get something out of the story. Today's story comes from a 24-year-old lady who died of asthma and then came to heaven. Experienced many unforgettable things. Why did she choose to return to Earth again in the end? Let's start today's story. When I was 12 years old, I had a very bad case of pneumonia and I had been sick for several weeks, and I kept coughing at night, which prevented me from sleeping properly. My throat was getting sore, I was experiencing flu-like symptoms, and it was getting harder to breathe. I had breathing problems all the time and was later officially diagnosed with asthma. I was taken to the hospital. There, the doctors examined me, I removed all my clothes, and I was wrapped in cold, wet sheets to try to relieve my soaring body temperature. After diagnosing me, they administered penicillin, to which I had an allergic reaction, causing anaphylactic shock. I knew that I was dead. I found myself leaving my body and floating to the upper right corner of the ward. When I looked down, I saw a body wrapped in a sheet. I had lost any connection to it. It felt like I was now my true self. The doctors and nurses became very busy. But no one noticed that I was here, observing all this from outside my body. Through the walls, I could see my mother in the hallway. In a way, I felt her concern, and I wanted her to know that I was fine and that she didn't need to be upset. When I was admitted to the hospital, the doctor scolded her harshly for not taking me there sooner. The summer before that, I was sick at my aunt's house. My body would tremble uncontrollably. Although it was hot to the touch, I kept saying that I felt cold. My mother took my aunt's advice and covered me with a blanket and put a hat on me. This caused my condition to get worse. The doctor was angry with my mother for what she did. He said this would kill me, all of which my mother told me later. Suddenly, a light appeared in the ward and it lit up the whole room. It wrapped around me. I couldn't see anything else but this light. The scene in the ward had disappeared. The light was getting brighter and brighter. It was so pure and magnificent. I saw a glowing corridor. I didn't resist, because it felt so inviting. I merged with the light, it was me and I was it, there was no difference. I moved along the shining corridor. The light was so intense that no light on earth could ever compare to it. I felt profound love. Everything was so perfect. Here, I had no other thoughts but happiness and contentment. A living being appeared in front of me, who had no fixed shape, who radiated pure love. We communicated without words, all by telepathy. This form of communication was all-powerful, and we instantly read each other's thoughts. There was not a single mistake. Every expression was accurate and perfect. We both heard each other's voices. I had the feeling that he was God and I felt I was home. I was surrounded by love. God helped me review my past life before deciding whether to stay here or return to my body. I gave a straightforward answer, I wanted to stay. He patiently told me, I can indeed stay. I looked at my life before I made my decision. I knew I needed to do so. The decision came from a deep inner knowing, and I agreed, even though I wasn't very reluctant. It was like watching a movie, full of precise details. Every thought and action was shown, re-experienced and re-examined. It was completely transparent and honest. He didn't comment on anything I did. In this review, I could see how my actions affected other people's. I could feel what they were feeling at the time. I see it all from their perspective, and then they influence others they encounter, and those influences continue. I see that our love creates connections that create an eternal beauty that we don't even know about at the time. A small thing can also have a huge impact. For example, if I help someone in trouble, that event may change her mood for the day. She passed that pleasure on to those around her. In a way, I hear her thanking me. We are inherently loving beings. There was an episode in the review of life when I was taken to another world. It was similar to Earth because there were trees and a blue sea. There were trees full of fruit, very lush foliage, and brightly colored birds. Everything was alive, every flower and every grain of sand. The air was filled with the scent of flowers. Even now, when I smell the lilies, I can recall the memory. Everything here is so vivid. Everyone is floating in the air, very close to the ground. We can penetrate each other. As I glide slowly, my hands pass through the flowers, merging with them and becoming part of them. When I pass another, our thoughts immediately communicate. I also see my future life. If I choose to return to Earth, these memories will be erased. I saw my future child. He was so cute. I could feel my love for him. I also saw how sad my mother would be if I didn't go back, and I saw my mother lying in the hospital, very weak. She kept calling my name. She couldn't forgive herself and thought my death was her fault. I also met a man there who felt like my brother. My mother had told me that I had a brother before I was born. He told me, our mother would be very sad. I was told that if I chose to go back, I would forget about it all for a while, and to my relief, everything would be okay. As I was making my final decision, I came to the last place. It was a huge space in which all my deceased relatives appeared before me. There were hundreds of them, but most of them I didn't recognize. I was stunned. The message from all of them together was, "Welcome home. We have been waiting for you." The words brought tears to my eyes as we waited for each other. We waited for everyone. No matter how long it takes. I gave my final answer, I want to go back. I don't want my mother to live with constant self-blame. I saw my future child and I wanted to experience the joy of motherhood. Then I had the feeling of going backwards, like everything was playing backwards, but now at a faster pace. And when there was that feeling, I asked one last question, do I have a chance to come back here again? And stay here all the time? I got an affirmative answer. Yes, my child. This is your forever home. The doctor gave me an injection of adrenaline to make my heart beat again. Then I was back in my body. I think I understand a lot of things. What I have told above is a small part of my experience. I tried to express it as clearly as I could, but I didn't know what words to use for a lot of it. But you just need to believe one thing, that God exists, that He loves each of us, and not to lose hope in life. Everything will be fine. God is with you.